while I have still some remaining questions about where the Ravens stack up among the AFC elites, the bottom line is those questions, the answers to those questions don't matter at the moment whatsoever. They've ripped off 3 straight games, 3 straight wins, and they have a favorable upcoming stretch. They're breathing new life. And things that I watched yesterday were encouraging. 3 turnovers, 3 fourth down stops. They ran the football effectively for over 150 rushing yards. Yes, they had short yardage miscues, but 150 plus rushing yards is 150 plus rushing yards. They had a dominant fourth quarter drive, 11 plays, 67 yards. It spanned over 6 minutes. It began in the third quarter, leaked into the fourth quarter. Tyler Loop contributed. He went 4 for 5 from a field goal perspective. Yes, he missed 50 from 56, handled his dynamic kickoffs, but in a game that you win, 27-19, you needed every single one of those points from Tyler Loop. He's yet to truly be challenged or leaned on, let's call it, through the first 10 weeks of his rookie year, but he's absolutely passed the test thus far. And how about the decisive halftime adjustments made by Todd Monken, and also digging into some trickery from a creativity standpoint when he realized that they were not getting enough push up front in short yardage situations. Where I'm going with all of this, I think the Ravens showed something yesterday that's very, very encouraging moving forward for this group. They found a way to win on their terms, and they did so in kind of a vanilla fashion. Listen to Blake Cashman, Vikings linebacker, some of his post-game comments about what he felt like their strategy was from an offense perspective.
Baltimore was really taking much risk. They were running the football. Lamar was, for the most part, where they're having their success was in the quick passes. In the drop back, it wasn't really working for them. So it's hard to take the ball off the team when they're not absorbing risk. But with some guys they have over there where they've had fumble issues, we got to be better at punching at the football and gang tackling, get guys ripping the ball.
That's Blake Cashman, Vikings linebacker. Did you hear him? Go ahead and transcribe that for you. Quote, I didn't think Baltimore was really taking much risk. They were running the football. For the most part, where they were having success was in the quick passing game. In the drop back game, it wasn't really working for them. It's hard to take the ball off the team, meaning take the ball away from the team, when they're not absorbing risk. This one's garnering some traction online right now. A lot of Ravens fans weighing in, and here are my thoughts on it. I think this is a really encouraging sign. Too often has a Ravens opponent in recent years in the postseason, for example, played a very risk-free, right? Like low risk, high reward type of game, meaning from an aggressiveness standpoint, was just kind of like really average, really calm, not necessarily moving the needle, not necessarily grasping for anything out of control, right? And what that does is it puts the opponent, in this case the Ravens, in a position where, hey, you force them to make mistakes. And you just kind of sit back and play your game and see if they'll make mistakes. Yesterday, I thought it was a good example of the opposite. The Ravens were the ones that sat back, played their game, low risk, medium to high level reward, and ultimately got an end result that was in their favor. Like, I think this is a really encouraging sign. Quote, I didn't think Baltimore was really taking much risk. They were running the football. For the most part, where they were having success was in the quick passes. In the drop back, it wasn't really working for them. It's hard to take the ball away from the team when they're not absorbing risk. I don't mind living in that world. From a Ravens perspective, that's a nice change in guard, to be quite honest with you. Not pressing, not overly exerting themselves, particularly when it comes to testing Lamar's mobility, still getting himself back from, of course, the the hamstring that sidelined him for a few weeks. And then there's this, which also is the perfect, it goes hand in hand with what Cashman was commenting on. Lamar didn't throw a ball 20 air yards yesterday. Spenny got the next gen stats here. He said, look, it wasn't the cleanest offensive effort, but think it was necessary growth against a disciplined scheme. Lamar was 17 of 29, 176 yards, touchdown, no picks, no turnovers. Look at the passing chart. Blake Cashman's correct. And I think that's really encouraging. It shows you the Ravens are capable of winning in a variety of ways. It shows you that even without Lamar playing at a high level or needing everything that Lamar, exhausting every single resource that comes with Lamar, Ravens are still capable of winning a football game. I think there's a lot to like about that. Winning ugly. Do you want to make a habit out of it? No, but reality is, I think that's a really encouraging sign. Todd Monken deserves credit. Lamar deserves credit. Ravens rushing attack deserves credit. But ultimately, the fact that there were 6 turnovers essentially yesterday created by the defense puts the Ravens offense in a position where they can play this kind of way. 3 turnovers, 3 fourth down stops. That's going to certainly help in this category. I'm not saying they should make a habit out of it. I'm just saying we haven't grown accustomed to seeing the Ravens win games. They tend to lose games like this, the way the Minnesota Vikings did yesterday in the playoffs. And so if you're looking for something to look ahead at way down the line and feel encouraged about, I think it starts and ends right here. Historically, Lamar continues to be Lamar. It was his 100th career start yesterday in Minnesota. And yeah, not a bad list to be on. NFL on CBS Twitter account put together the best records by quarterbacks over their first 100 career starts in NFL history. And Lamar, at 73 wins and 27 losses, finds himself on a list that includes Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, and Roger Staubach. That'll play. Historic stuff for a historic player. And what about the NFC? He continues to dominate that conference. He's 25-3. It's the highest quarterback win percentage versus a non-conference opponent since the merger. That's 1970, going back quite a few years. And that's a minimum of 15 starts. That's not enough for you. I got more. Lamar passes Josh Allen for the 6th most passing touchdowns by a quarterback in their first 100 career starts in the Super Bowl era. And if you needed more, well, I got it for you. There's plenty of it to go around. Lamar's led the Ravens to 2,883 points in his first 100 career starts. That's a points per game mark at 28.8. The 3 highest scoring offenses in a quarterback's first 100 starts since 1950 includes, again, Lamar, Aaron Rodgers, and Patrick Mahomes. Elite company, elite players, elite starts to their careers, their Hall of Fame careers, that is. More from Dante here. Lamar's thrown just 50 interceptions in his first 100 career starts. That breaks Aaron Rodgers' record for the fewest interceptions in a quarterback's first 100 career starts. Aaron Rodgers had 54. Unbelievable. Think about this run that Lamar is on. And again, yet again, here he is living in a world where, since he's returned from his hamstring now for several games, couple games, Miami now and Minnesota, they really have not been forced to test his mobility, to test his hamstring. Guys, Brian Flores, to go back to KP's point earlier on, and how disciplined this defense is under Brian Flores, perhaps a future head coach in this league. Lamar was blitzed on 58% of his dropbacks. That's the 5th highest rate of his career. He got the ball out of his hands quickly. He averaged 4.1 air yards per attempt. That's the lowest in a game with 20-plus attempts in his career. So, yeah, as Blake Cashman noted a short while ago in his postgame media scrum, the quick passing game was what the Ravens leaned on. They were not getting very much at all in the drop back passing game, a lot of which has to do with the way that they continue to lose in the trenches from an offensive line play standpoint. Their performance there has not been good enough. They're moving bodies in the run game, but they have a really difficult time, whether it's looking for work in Daniel Alele's case, holding up sturdy in Andrew Voorhees' case, hand usage or misusage up and down the line. It's got to get better. But the fact that, again, the Ravens had answers and withstood the test of the Brian Flores master strategy when it comes to going up against Lamar, I think it's a great sign of things to come for this group. Let's get to some super chats, shall we? Wildlife says Lamar is playing on schedule, not living off of the extended play, which helps the offensive line. Steve O says good road win. All three phases did their job, but 77 was a tough watch this weekend. Guys like a fish out of water in space. Joe Jenkins writes, God bless your family for looking after your mom. We love her. We love you, Mom. KP says it seems like the defense didn't have an issue with Orr all along. Players kept reiterating they needed to perform. Seems the 14 switch to Rover was the key. Was Kyle Hamilton something yet again yesterday? My, oh my. It's a player that his impact, what he does on a play-to-play basis, it just knows no bounds. The highest paid safety for a reason. There's no question about that. Again, listen to what J.J. McCarthy talked about.
As you look back on that game right now, are there any throws or decisions that maybe stick out to you that you want back?
There's a lot of them. I just feel like, there's so much on the tape that it's going to reveal. But, the amount of tip balls that happened today at the line of scrimmage, those are just absolutely killer. And it's a credit to them up front. They played a tremendous game. They had a tremendous game plan, threw the kitchen sink at us in terms of coverage, pressures, new looks. But, yeah, it's just the little things like that. I think it's the worst play in football, a tip ball at the line of scrimmage. But, that's what it is. And, I definitely want those back.
13 pass deflections. That is insane. 13 pass deflections. And again, as much as it's easy to sit here and be like, oh man, the Vikings just self-inflicted wound after self-inflicted wound, 8 pre-snap penalties. A lot of that has to do with the stress that this Ravens defense was putting their operation under. Their cadence was off. J.J. McCarthy clearly was flustered at times. And you heard him there. They threw the kitchen sink at him. You got to credit Zach Orr and his defensive staff for their game plan going in because, man, oh, man. Again, that pass rush still leaves, I think, different areas, different aspects to be desired. But when you got Draymond Jones coming in and immediately tallying up 4 pressures, and when you got Travis Jones and CJ Okoye and other guys up front that are impacting sight lines, getting their hands on footballs and deflecting balls at the line of scrimmage, and not to mention you're taking away the football, both when it comes to shoring up on 4th down, creating turnovers on downs, and taking away the football as well, then you're going to make up for an inconsistent and at times lacking pass rush.